what we want to see pick and ban.
Well, what I expected didn't really happen. They give the Kaisa over a hyper carry on the side of Rogue Warriors, and Top Esports has to play with something else this time around. We have seen Jhin and Misfortune from Demacia Cup be selected by JackeyLove. Well, honestly, everyone just picks those champions. But you know, he still looked the best on Kaisa, so it's gonna be interesting to find out how well he fares on the other lethality AD carries.
See him on the Jhin here. JackeyLove's Jhin has been pretty good in the past too, but it is the Graves getting picked up, and for Rogue Warriors, that Nidalee is still available if he wants to pick it up. And he opts into it just before showing us the Lilia, so we get that engage, plus we get the Leona away from Zhuo.
Yeah, I'm really not sure about leaving Nidalee open like this. Nidalee players are pretty damn streaky, and if they have 2 good games on it, giving them a 3rd try, probably not the greatest idea. I would have definitely dropped the Renekton ban. I felt like the way they play with Ziv, it doesn't really matter what champion he's on anyway. It's going to be a front line. So I would have much preferred just to take away the Nidalee. But both teams, they're siding up for pretty standard compositions right now. It's a Kellin on the bottom side, level 6. Both of these champions press their ultimates. They can instantly evaporate someone like the Jhin, and they can actually go past the Alistar quite easily. So Rogue Warriors is definitely setting themselves up once again for a Kellin on the bottom side. And Top Esports, I think it's going to be front to back, but they still need some sustained damage. So I'm looking at probably a 0 Viktor on the side for the likes of Knight.
Just need some strong AP damage, right? You know, because we've got the marksman jungle and AD carry here for the Jhin with lethality. So that AP for Knight's going to be pretty strong and crucial. Top Esports in the ban, so just to take note, it is Yone and the Irelia targeted towards Forge once again, who's getting quite a bit of respect.
Yep, like we said in the previous game, honestly in Rogue Warriors' current 3-lane setup, the only lane that poses a lot of threat early game will be Forge's lane, so we've been seeing target bans the entire way through. It is going to be the Viktor locked in like we suspected, provides great range in the mid lane, is a good source of sustained damage to kind of follow up on the Jhin burst. And for Rogue Warriors now, you know, we just expect some tanks. Sion is open. What else is open? Malphite is open. Malphite actually does pretty well into Jhin.
Gnar's a pick that, you know, would synergize with the Kaisa Leona. So that's going to be picked up for Ziv.
This is a champion that Ziv has been known for. He's very comfortable on the champion. But I don't actually like Gnar that much as a team fighting piece in this current meta because I think teams engage so quickly that you never have enough time to actually properly charge up your rage bar. There are very few pitch battles. Most of the fights that we've been seeing in the LPL are just one side decides to engage and the fight is completely on. So I like the way the Shy plays Gnar a lot better than the way Ziv is likely to play Gnar, where Gnar is more of a split pushing threat rather than a full-on team fight.
What are they going to run into it? 369 on a tank or on the Jayce? At the end of the day, is it going to be flex though, Clement? My real question. But this is going to be a matchup that's going to be pretty crucial to win early on.
This is an interesting one. In the preseason, we have seen a lot of Viktors go top lane just because he was so busted, especially with Leandri's Anguish. But since that has been toned down, he's been mostly just mid lane. We have seen some like freaky builds in the past from Viktors. We know that Doinby really liked it, and he was willing to go something like Frostborn Gauntlet on it just to throw some interesting builds out there. But this is the first time we're going to see a Viktor go into the top side, and it does look like it's locked in.
Okay, it is. 369 showing us what he's got with the Viktor. This, to me, screams Top Esports taking another direction in the third game. 3 completely different drafts, Clement. How does this interact? How do you work solo laners in who, you know, are likely to just win lane?
I'll be honest, what this looks like coming out from Top Esports, I just have to interject. I hate it when Knight goes and does that little smile. When he does that little smile, it usually means that he's not confident in something. So we've seen this before.
Good sign. Karsa looks worried as well, but go on.
Yeah. I think what this means is they're trying to pivot towards a 1-3-1 style of split push composition where they can have Jayce and they can have the Viktor on side lanes. We have seen Viktors go for the what is it called? The Banshees, not the Banshees, Lichbane. To chunk down turrets really quickly. That has been a good build there. However, I don't think it works out very well against Rogue Warriors' composition, because Rogue Warriors is running TF and they're running Kaisa. So they can actually kill 1-3-1 split push threats very easy.
Okay. Well, you know, at the very least, itemization for that top lane is going to be something we talk about going into game. I do want you to explain Rogue Warriors a little bit better to me as we run into this one, because for Rogue Warriors, you know, they've been pretty high on playing through the pick of their jungle through mid, but this time around, you know, it's only Haro onto the Nidalee once again. We've got ourselves a game 3 when we didn't really expect it, and Haro feels like a pivotal piece once again in this draft.
Definitely is the case here. So what Rogue Warriors are running is just a standard pick composition. They have the likes of TF, Leona for instant stuns, and if Haro is around the area, it's very easy to land a spear just to follow that up. So I expect them to actually pick up the pace in the early game. Even if Top Esports gets a couple of CS leads in their lanes, Rogue Warriors can actually quickly shut them down. And I don't know, man. This is such a hard composition for Top Esports to play. Even given their advantage in just their player mechanics, there's not really an answer when TF and Haro show up. You just kind of die.
Yep. Yeah, because TF can be pretty proactive in this composition and respond to Top Esports. Further to your point, we are waiting to get onto the Rift for game number 3. Top Esports lost game 2 after a nice little comeback from Rogue Warriors. It was a messy game. You know, I wouldn't call it great League of Legends, but it still was entertaining as hell. And after what we saw, now it's a bit of skepticism rolling over the top of Top Esports. You know, that skepticism we had when they lost the first game against Suning. Is this the first or the second team of the LPL? Well, if they lose this series, some people are probably going to start saying no.
Well, if they're down 0-2, their chances of getting top spot in the LPL actually diminishes greatly. There's almost no chance you can get it. And we were mentioning the format about double elimination. So if you get the top 2 spots, you're guaranteed a second chance at in the playoffs. You can get eliminated first and you'll go into the loser brackets instead of being completely out. So the top 2 spots are incredibly important in this format.
Could shape up everything, just Top Esports, if they don't make it across the line here against RW. Again, I said at the start of broadcast, you know, RW have given teams a challenge. Anyone who's higher than them, anyone that's lower than them, they can win or lose. Honestly, it's always up in the air. That's the great thing about this team. And they've revamped, they've changed. Haro's still the core, but Kellin on his debut into the LPL has just been great. And, you know, his mechanics are great, and he's just come out of nowhere. He's come out of left field.
Yep, he's only played 7 games before in the LDL, and the way Rogue Warriors were hyping him up were super aggressive and has a large champion pool, because we did see him pick up a couple of Cinder games in the LDL. Other than that, complete blank slate. Nobody knows anything about him, and we were in for a rather pleasant surprise. He definitely showed up at he knows his stuff, and he fits very well into the hyper carry sort of role for Rogue Warriors.
True. Very, very true. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the delay. We are apparently sorting out an issue. That's why there's a bit of a wait here. But we'll just get a closer look. Again, look at the branding, Clement. You can see on their jumpers. That's all I'm saying. Are we ready to drive in? How are we going? How are we looking?
Dropped out of the PCS. I wonder where they went.
And look, there's a logo above Rogue Warriors. What does it mean?
That says NA buy.
Wow.
That's a meme from 2015 when they...
Well, I'm not that old, I'm sorry. You know, I only started esports, I only started casting in 2015, back in Australia. But you were when were you coaching NIP?
Oh, that was back in season 4.
Okay.
Long time
an old
ago.
man.
Yeah. I'm a boomer now.
You are. What do you mean now? You've always been a boomer. Boomers are cool though. Don't listen to
okay?
Don't listen to Ender, okay, man? He's a Zoomer. Boomers are cool. You know, they know a lot about the world. Zoomers, too inexperienced. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm getting old, but my hair's still brown. So that's all I ask for. No grey hairs on this face as we run into Summoner's Rift. Thank you for waiting patiently. Quick look at the runes. Graphics look slick. I was going to say sexy again, but I did it anyway. Slick as we go into game 3. Comment on Knight's Viktor. So it is a Knight Viktor in the end.
Yeah, we do have to note that usually players have to lock in at the 20-second mark. However, we did see the the overlay being taken away at the 19th second. So apologies right there. It is going to be the more standard, just Jayce into the top lane. We kind of got bamboozled right there.
True. But Knight, you know, back on Viktor, at least with the aggressive lane rune, 369 on this Jayce. The question to me is, coming back to what you talked about, top esports, their composition is very hard to utilize, Clement. You talked about the poke and the interaction and how Forge can match this composition each step of the way.
Yeah, it's the fact that Rogue Warriors have a lot of hard single target crowd control, and top esports don't have a lot of tankiness. And if you look at their runes, they're not running any cleanses outside of JackeyLove either. So the solo lanes are going to be prime targets for invades, and I do expect them to be put under a lot of pressure post 6.
Here we go, level 1's at the ready. QiuQiu, does he have Zenith Blade? Because pick a card is there for Forge, but he's moving to the mid lane instead. Zhuo gets hit pretty hard. Dancing Grenade across the board. Knight's moving as well. There's a ward to spot out his rotation, but it's a flash from Zhuo onto the blue buff. Level 1's are great, but Karsa's getting low. Smites down, hits level 2, flashes away. And Rogue Warriors have lost this trade for now. Summon it for the smite advantage, but Rogue Warriors burnt their own summoners in succession.
That was a very close call, but ultimately a great win for top esports. They waste a ton of time out of Haro from the jungler, and they also force out the flashes there as well from Haro. So great move on their part, but still very, very close. If that spear landed, there was a good chance that Karsa was just dead.
That's right. You know, you play that game. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's been a while since I watched Game of Thrones. I'm trying to remember the quote, but Karsa goes back to farming his jungle. He's heading towards the top side now. 8 CS to 0 because Haro has to go back to his red, start there without a smite, I believe. So he's really delayed on this jungle clear.
Yeah, and that means there's not going to be a lot of impact coming from him when these picks are made, when they're trying to roam Forge and the likes of QiuQiu across the map. So what this does mean is that if Karsa gets a comfortable lead, he can just go into the jungle of Rogue Warriors and just try to snope out where Haro is, and always try to keep tabs on him. Make sure he can't join TF in these roams.
Still clearing out his bottom side. Just keep track of the junglers ourselves as the viewers. As a top lane pushing in as well. This is what you want to see from 369, meanwhile, is the Jayce winning lane, using the range advantage. Shock Blast a little bit awry, but already bullying out the Gnar so that they get the most out of this matchup.
And I'm pretty interested in what items we are going to see from the top lane here. It's mainly been Eclipse for top lane Jayce. We have seen some variations in if people are building the tier, or what the second item is going to be. We've seen some Youmu's as well. So it really is very matchup dependent, and it really depends on like how you want to play it out. We have seen the Shy go for more scaling options with the Black Cleaver and the Blade of the Ruin King too. So a lot of open questions there.
There he is for the top laner, at least now though for Zhuo, in a bit of trouble. Damage massive after proccing the second skid. Kellin and QiuQiu on top of the 2v2.
And this is a kill lane that we see very frequently in the LPL. You can proc multiple sunlights with one Icathian Rain. So what that means is, like, if you use the Q, use the E, you can proc once with the Icathian Rain, and then if you use the Q, you can proc this passive again. It really means a ton of burst damage that you can throw into targets early on.
Well, the damage already shown, plain and simple, in front of us. Might give nice back timing for Kellin as well, while JackeyLove just has to receive this wave in the bottom lane. I don't know if he missed that cannon. I think he did. But at the very least, JackeyLove backing now as well. And pickaxe here for Kellin, while JackeyLove probably going to have something similar. He went boots for pot start. Double longsword, even worse, with a control ward. So definitely a damage advantage here for Kellin.
Is the case here, and I think the main difference on the map right now does come from the top end jungle. We do see 369 with a very sizable lead early on. This is to be expected in this matchup. But on the flip side, Karsa also has a very sizable farm lead here, and I think if they can control the top side, it makes things a lot easier. They can basically put tabs on wherever this Nidalee is going to be. Maybe Kellin is going to find a surprise.
That's a Hex Flash forward. The surprise is that the Bull does absolutely nothing without JackeyLove. So Draw only hits level 3 now, which means that's the end of the play. And QiuQiu's coming back to lane. But that's bottom lane. We've been focusing a lot on that. Let's come back to jungle because we talked about the starting lead that was gained from Haro not getting the smite. Karsa's 10 CS ahead, and a matchup that usually gets out farmed Karsa's at level 5, while Haro is only just at 4. So this is a big level lead, a big advantage this early in the game. And Karsa's even picked up Noon Quiver as his first back.
Definitely is the case. They know that Forge has hit level 6 already. So already Karsa hovering and anticipating the play.
Yeah, there's 3v3 in the bottom lane, Clement. Got to cut you off. Zhuo is there. There's first blood immediately over to Rogue Warriors. JackeyLove has flash. He's trying to queue up the fourth shot, but Destiny comes down to match, and Karsa can't change the fact.
Yeah, great play coming in from Rogue Warriors. They know that there is no flash on the side of Zhuo. They just picked that one up, and Karsa might have stepped a little bit too far forward. Does get away safely in the end.
Yeah, it's okay. At the end of the day, still Rogue Warriors net win. Look at where the kill went. Over to Forge, whose mid lane was pretty much even. He's going to start influencing the map. Again, what you talked about, where Forge can respond to any of these plays from top esports, where the twist of fate against this composition is going to be quite easy to run, or easier than normal.
Yeah, it definitely is the case. And I think for top esports, their play should be trying to open up one of these side lanes. We did mention that they're a 1-3-1 type of composition. They do well by splitting the map apart. And if it's the bottom lane, that would be the best option for sure. But they could also go top for this one. They're potentially looking for another 4v2 play here.
We'll see. Knight's going to move down quickly, though. Teleport was already burnt to lane, so if he gets pushed out, it's not going to be good. Forge even shoves the mid wave, so not too much he can do while Haro is spotted out. Collateral damage used to steal the chickens, but the big one does go over to Haro.
Off by just about 30 HP. Really hasn't been Karsa's day, has it? Flashing on Krogs.
He stole a blue buff with collateral damage in the last game, but you're right. He hasn't gotten any of the Baron steals when it counts. So, yeah, Karsa kind of just looking for opportunities. He's got a full jungle to clear, so we're going to leave junglers there. A very slow early game. And this is kind of what we expected when we started drafting out, you know, the Viktor, you know, maybe the handshake in the bottom lane, as you mentioned. But expecting those first, second dragon fights to come through, Clement. What do you think? What should we be looking towards? Where does the action start?
So, I don't think either of these teams really prioritizes the dragon fight. It's just going to be an accumulation of priority. If they get too much priority, then yeah, they'll go for a dragon. But I don't think either team is really focusing on that. What we have from Rogue Warriors side is they're just trying to wait until these moments to leave lane. They're clearly focusing on the top side. They have the double pinks down already, so they're looking at an opportunity to shut down 369. And on the other side, I think top esports want to make a side lane play where they can crack open one of these towers and transition into the 1-3-1.
Get yourself in a very comfortable position to just hold this side lane. Forge looks for the gold card with Chaos Storm put down. This is just Knight pushing the wave while Herald has been started. Haro's here, but Javelin Toss doesn't connect. Shock Blast either. That's a bit of poke down from both teams. 369 has to flash over the wall. Awkward positioning. Ziv doesn't even gnar. And just the threat alone gives Rogue Warriors the steal of Herald.
That was a bit of a head scratcher coming out from top esports. They walked over double pinks on that side of the map, so Rogue Warriors definitely understood the potential for a Herald play right there, and that's just a freebie. Karsa took a lot of damage on that one. He started it, he groomed it, and Rogue Warriors took it.
But now the response play, can they kill Forge? Forward they go. Knight doesn't get the distance in the end. Forge getting ignited down, he'll help clear the way, but he lives, and Zhuo wastes his time. Knight uses the flash, and away Forge goes.
Yeah, I don't really understand that play coming out from the side of Karsa. I guess what he was trying to do was just break open top lane tower easier with the Herald, but that was a play where they definitely just stepped over vision. Kind of a weird chance right there. And with that Herald, it does mean 369's lane is going to take a while.
Gnar ultimate in lane. We got to pause there. Look, 369 mid-air suspension as well. Just has to pause at that moment. And top esports maybe upset they're losing. Because at the very least, you know, Rogue Warriors with a bit of a gold lead. The early game favorable after getting first blood. And the Herald. We're going to see where that gets dropped. Because at the very least, the ability to blast open one of these lanes. Maybe turn the tides of top lane, Clement. But not looking too good. As we're waiting for this one to come back.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, all Rogue Warriors needs to do is they can allow the wave to push in. They can have Nidalee farm the wave. They just want to free up Forge to get wherever he wants to go onto the map. Top lane is very easy to kill with that Jayce in the top side. And actually, Ziv might be winning this.
Yeah, solo kill time, and Ziv walks away. So whatever happened, 369 obviously took a bit too much damage top.
And this is why we were saying Gnar is one of Ziv's best champions. He played this a lot ever since Season 5. Knew that 369 was down a flash, instantly punishes him.
I'm waiting for the replay because there bloody better be one. Because I don't know what happened up there. Ziv getting a kill now for Destiny. Collateral damage used. There's no Gale Force here for Karsa. He's dead. Rogue Warriors up a bit of gold. Ziv dies anyway. But that's still a net-worthy trade.
That's a pretty huge win right here. You really don't expect the Gnar to be winning out against the Jayce in the early game. That just should never happen. But it has, and now Rogue Warriors are able to flip the script. It's not going to be the 1-3-1 on the side that from Top Esports to work out. They're just going to take this turret plating and likely drop the Herald soon after.
And blocked for the rest of the wave clear, so 369 can't really do anything. Gets poked down, 2 bits of plates given. Haro and Forge are staying here because they want to put the Herald down immediately after and give that gold to some of the core carries. So this is pretty big, as Jhin's not going to push as quick as they are. This is going to be first turret blood at 11 minutes in the game.
And all of that gold is going on to Haro and Ziv, where they could really flip their early game deficits totally around. You know, Haro had a bad start to this game. Gnar was down by quite a bit of CS. But right now, that is completely wiped away from the ledger. They actually get a second charge, too.
Yeah, they will. Shock Blast doesn't hit either, and 369 left to his lonesome. Top Esports are not responding to this. They push turrets pretty quick, and, you know, as 369 even tries to clear the wave, that's a pretty low turret. In a turret in the top side, pushed down, and look at bot. There was no response because Kellin and QiuQiu stayed in the lane. Forge is sticking up in the top side, trying to bait 369 in, but Haro just keeps standing next to him, making sure nothing can be done.
When we talk about cyberbullying, we always think about New, but I never thought it would happen to 369. He's getting capped like Dyrus right now in the top side, and
He is?
It's very unfavorable. We were talking about long lanes and how Top Esports had a dangerous split push because of the Twisted Fate, even if they were ahead in towers. And now they're behind in towers. That actually makes it even worse, because right now what TF can do is they can overload on the bottom side completely. They just take Ziv with them, and whatever leads you had in the bottom side don't really matter anymore.
It's going to make sense that, you know, Rogue Warriors getting these early turrets means Rogue Warriors have more positional advantages to play from with the Twisted Fate. With Haro as well, with a Night Harvester at 12 minutes into the game. So a lot of movement speed, plus the Hextech Rocket Belt for Forge, because they got first turret blood, so it makes sense that they're also at their Mythics first. Only other Mythics on Top Esports is the double Gale Force on the 80 carries. So Top Esports still behind 2,000 gold at 13 minutes, even getting pushed out for their jungle. Knight actually going to get flashed on. There's a Solar Flare into the Blade. Knight getting ignited down. The gold card helps kill him as QiuQiu gets the kill credit. Rogue Warriors with kill number 4. As Karsa in. Can he find the collateral damage? QiuQiu lives though. And Top Esports just can't get a break.
Yeah, that was not even close, honestly. The Shield of Daybreak comes in, and QiuQiu is completely safe from that one. I really think Top Esports needs to... Okay, never mind.
Oh no. Government plus connects. No follow-up though. What do they need to do, Clement? You're about to tell me.
Yeah, they need to take a breather and play more defensively, especially around their bottom side. All mid lane needs to do is just make sure the wave is cleared out. Like, what should happen right now is Graves should be constantly hovering onto the bottom side. They don't really have control of the mid lane with Haro this fed either, and with the Night Harvester too. So the best they can do is just try to slow the pace down of the 4v2 dive as much as possible. And you can see this is exactly what Karsa is trying.
Hover around. I like that as well, you know, slowing the pace at least now, because for Top Esports, it's out of control. As Karsa runs in, end of the line, but QiuQiu can definitely tank it up. And that's it. What he moves away.
Top Esports needs to do is they need to hang on for now until they hit Mythic parity. If they don't have that, the plays don't really matter on the map. So just play defensively, know your beat so far, and try to hold on to that bot side.
At least till we get to that second dragon, right? Because you want to start lining up objectives. I know you said that both teams, you know, wasn't going to be the priority around dragon, but Rogue Warriors have such a lead where it feels free at this point to just take on spawn.
Is the case, and everyone's going to be converging on this second Herald right here. Karsa is in position first. Top Esports do have the front foot in this.
They do, and they're going to get scuttled too. So with the Gale Force, Karsa picks that one up, and he's going to start the Herald. But last time this didn't go so red hot Where's the bottom lane? Kellin and QiuQiu are moving into position, but top esports bottom lane is here first.
If this would be a mistake for Rogue Warriors to try and force this, but Ziv walks up anyway.
Oh, good flash behind anyway. The Gnar to disengage. Not yet. He flashes instead. The Chaos Storm landed down. Destiny's been burnt. It's going to be right in front. Into the smoke screen. Forge almost insta this one as he goes golden. But into the middle of that, the Chaos Storm still takes him down. Back on in. There's no Mega Gnar bar because Mega Gnar's not even here. He'll teleport back in, but it's a little bit too late. This top esports take 2 kills. Ziv at almost half health as Herald goes down to top esports' favor. That's a big win for them.
Yeah, that's definitely a top esports special. You hang around the play long enough and you wait for the enemy team to int straight into you.
Yeah.
Well done, top esports. They find the win on that one, and they're going to trade towers.
Yeah, can they get mid? Of course they can. A lot of DPS here. They can also get top lane for the side of top esports. And this has just been a real funny game 2 and game 3. This has been, you know, not clean from either side, throwing things away. That ult from Forge was probably one of the worst Twisted Fate ults I think we've seen in 2021.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's the start of the year.
Honestly, Ziv stepping up here is kind of questionable as well. He knows the full team is right around the corner, has to burn his flash to get out. And let's watch how TF lands in the middle of the enemy team. Okay.
He had the stopwatch. He was in the smoke screen now. That's the problem. Graves has W, as he normally does.
Yeah, and I believe Herald also goes over to top esports. Definitely does. So they're actually kind of back in the driver's seat.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Clement Chew. I'll wait for your analysis after this one because we've got a teleport coming to the back line. Top esports want to fight while Dragon is being done by Karsa. Secured. Ziv on the flank, but he doesn't have Gnar, while Kellin ults in as well. But QiuQiu left on his lonesome. Forge as well. And Rogue Warriors, you won game 2. You started game 3 with a bang. And you've just decided to throw it all away. Decision making is poor. Collateral damage finishes off. And RW are the bane of their own existence.
That was a very questionable positioning from Rogue Warriors' front line. He had Forge and QiuQiu both going up the ramp. The rest of the team definitely could not follow, and they basically died 2v5 for nothing.
This is something, man. Oh, I can't wait to watch a replay as Herald gets sport mid. Top esports back in gold swing. Only 600 to lead for RW at 17 minutes. Herald even gets a second charge. And man, what is Forge doing, Clement? What is this TF?
I don't know, man. Honestly, you should just be trying to pick side lanes. Top esports, they want to push side lanes anyways.
Nice.
Do that.
Knight, is he dead? Flashes away. Haro has to commit burning smite. Haro did burn flash though, and now 369 on the chase, but the shock blast doesn't have the range. 369 doesn't have flash either, and Haro's out. That was nice.
Yeah, and he also burns the teleport as well. That was actually huge. Oh, but wait a minute.
Never mind. No, we got the engage. Nice from Draw. Solarflare sets up, but I don't think QiuQiu's going to get out of this one. Karsa and JackeyLove still have the damage here as Curtain Call now going to open up the shock blast as well. And that first shot of the Curtain Call from JackeyLove. Aces in the hole of Haro. Down he goes. Gold lead for top esports and more kills.
Oh, I just want Rogue Warriors to play a pick comp like a pick comp. Please.
They're, yeah, I think the Observer's also given up on replays, by the way, because they're just like, well, if they're going to keep doing that, then whatever. Haro was kind of out, but they stuck around for the red buff, and down they go. And Clement, this is our first Rogue Warriors game. You know what I mean? Remember
Yeah,
in 2020?
I know what you mean.
Any
Rogue
of our
Warriors
fans out
last
there?
split, they had a lot of talent on the team with the likes of Holder and Crazy, but they just threw so many skirmishes. Yeah. It was kind of their thing, you know?
Yeah, no, it was. Rogue Warriors are this team that, you know, again, can lose to anyone, but, you know, frankly, sometimes win against anyone. That sounds like a League of Legends team, but none other than Rogue Warriors can kind of lose their own advantages. And in this game, there were advantages. I mean, Haro had the Night Harvester so early. We saw Forge making great plays with his jungler, but even with the Lich Bane, now their advantages have kind of slimmed away. We've got bounties on 3 of the top esports members. We've got a 1,500 gold lead. Those first items you're talking about are there, plus then some. The Yomu's Ghostblade for 369. He's going to shred with the Eclipse. Plus, the Collector for JackeyLove this early with Gale Force means that top esports are very comfortable around these next couple of fights.
Does mean top esports, if they get the engages first, if Zhuo can find a good angle, then the damage is definitely there for them to just delete targets off of the map. They're going to push in right now. And honestly, Forge is too far away to punish this one. So, very easy collected gold coming up from top esports. I just think that Rogue Warriors had such a strong hold over this game, but it's kind of slipping right now. They're finally finding the picks.
Destiny with the cleanse. Gold card doesn't work out. The Proto Belt right in front. The Solar Flare. JackeyLove's dead, though, and Rogue Warriors maybe back in the driver's seat as Ziv ults back into Knight, who's going to die, too. That's 3 kills immediately punished with Destiny, and RW gets serious again.
They finally come in with the right play. You just wait for top esports members to split up. You have the engage with QiuQiu, and you go all in onto the composition. They burned both the summoners from JackeyLove out as well, and now they're on Baron.
Okay, 5 versus 2. It's Karsa and 369. Shock Blast needs to hit the core of Rogue Warriors. 369, his angle, pretty crucial here. Needs to get past QiuQiu. 4K. Karsa has the level advantage for the smite, but Ziv's over the wall. The Shock Blast hits a duo. While Ziv is going into Mega Knight, tries to get the stun down. Karsa hit hard and he's dead. Before he can steal, Rogue Warriors have the Baron, and all 5 of them survive.
The underdog story is actually happening. Rogue Warriors, a 15th place team last split, might be on their way to taking down top esports. If they do so, this is definitely the biggest upset we've had so far in the LPL 2021 season.
All right, Clement, run me through this again because, JackeyLove wasn't respecting Destiny and the range of Forge.
So, this is a very simple play from Rogue Warriors, and they should just be doing this constantly over and over again. They pop the Destiny, they know Graves isn't there, they have the 5v4, and they have the front line actually touching on JackeyLove, who is the back line. So, very easy catch right there, and it forces top esports to think about their positioning at all. They don't have a lot of champions that can take the burst.
What? 369, he's spotted out with Destiny, and he was by himself. And this is going to give the first Infernal Dragon to Rogue Warriors. They're so much gold up right now. Karsa even farming over the wall. QiuQiu almost catches him. And with 369 going down and the Baron buff, this is going to open up so many resources for Rogue Warriors.
This is what I was talking about, how 1-3-1 matches up against pick. It just doesn't match up very well because your win condition is opening up the map. And that's also the pick comp's win condition too. So the pick comp is pretty happy for you to do that and just kill you all over the place.
Baron gets another turret, inside turret taken here for RW. And yeah, it is a bit of an upset. Top Esports facing down the barrel of what is a 0-2 start in the LPL for this year. Ziv off to the mid lane with Baron buff. They're letting this minion push. Next wave is about 5-6 seconds from crashing in. And RW are going to stick around for it.
Honestly, if Incense wins this series, the coach of Rogue Warriors, I think he deserves coach of the split. Banning out Ornn to win the series against top esports.
It's a bit early.
That is such a 5-head play.
There's
no way anyone would come up with that. Even Warhorse was laughing.
That's true. All right, well, I trust you, Clement. If, we'll look back on this in 10 weeks when we get through our 12 best-of-5 playoffs. We'll say, yeah, still Incense with coach of the split.
That
this
might
is
be
top
a little
esports.
Bit hyperbole, might be a little bit early, but I just want to say that play, no coach would do that, okay? No one tried to ban away 369's Ornn. He has a 36% win rate on that champion. You give it to him.
This is top esports falling asunder. 3 minutes till the next dragon. Teleport's going to be burned here from Ziv to use the rest of this Baron buff. We've got about 20 seconds of Baron, by the way. Wasn't a base broken from Rogue Warriors, but still, gold remains at about 5,000 in the lead at 24 minutes and at a very comfortable position. They're going to try for one last push to pull top esports down here, then maybe set up for the perfectly timed Baron and Dragon up in 3 minutes.
The problem for top esports now is their composition being a 1-3-1 comp. They really don't have any sort of engage. So Rogue Warriors can very easily set up in front of a tower like they're doing right there. And they're going to have the range advantage. They're going to have Forge coming out with poke and also the rapid fire cannon. They can take towers very easily. And what is top esports going to do? Like, top esports' only way to get back is if Zhuo can land like a 5-man WQ combo, which I don't think is ever going to happen.
Definitely not. And I don't know what you do when we look down the bottom right. 369 caught out again, rolling threes You just know across the world, people are starting with the early number of the keyboard. Ziv dodging away from the deadly flourish, and like right now, you know, how do you even cast this game? This is pretty shocking. Pretty crappy stuff from Top Esports. Rogue Warriors, good to seize this opportunity as Zhuo runs forward. Teleport going to be burned. 369 is coming in as into the back line. Now they want to bring it back around. Chocho absorbing the damage though as 369, followed by Knight with the TP. Chocho getting low. He's healed up. Gold card at the ready, but the curtain call lines through. Ziv has the ulti available, but his Mega Gnar's running out. Top Esports, they managed to survive. They managed to hold their turret in the process.
Very good engage from Zhuo, but did you see that spear landing onto JackeyLove? That took him down to like 20% HP with a single Q. So this is definitely a winning strategy for Rogue Warriors. You could argue that Top Esports did outplay in that situation. They got a great start of the fight down right there. But if Rogue Warriors continue to do that, they're just going to burn a ton of summoners away from Top Esports.
Which is good, which is the play. Again, there's going to be praises here for Rogue Warriors for bringing it back after what was some really questionable plays with Forge, maybe Haro, you know, what we saw from Chocho. It's good to see Rogue Warriors bring it back to the level that we saw at the start of this game, with bounties back on 3 core members, with 2 to 3 items across the board. Also note that against this team that has a lot of lethality, a lot of AD damage, that Thorn Mail from Ziv is going to destroy a lot of what Top Esports output.
Definitely is the case right here. Knight has been having a terrible game. He's not really doing much damage at this point. So just itemizing against armor should be enough to push in and even tank some tower shots right here. I think for Rogue Warriors, they should just keep the game plan relatively simple. At this point, they don't really have to pick that much. Top Esports are in a completely defensive posture. So you just walk as a 5-man group, you force them underneath their own towers, and you use your poke ability. Like, even if 369 lands something, you can heal him up with Haro, who has a lot of AP at this point.
That's true. And as well, you can block a lot of the damage. Chocho's got the locket, right? So giving him resistances as Forge teleports to the bottom lane right before the Dragon and Baron spawn.
Zhuo is looking for his angle. Uses the Hex Flash. Can't get it.
Okay, good shock blast here from 369. Top Esports still have control of the river. Ziv is going into Mega Gnar. That's the bar we need to look out for. Top Esports are walking in, but this is not Infernal Soul. It's just another Infernal Dragon, but Zhuo wants to fight. Knight goes golden early. I'm not sure what that was about, but Solar Flare into the back line. The poke damage huge. You mentioned how big this is as Forge is at a flanking angle with the gold card. Dragon getting low and secured by Haro. Forge comes in into Zhuo. They lock down and take down the support, and Chocho absorbs the damage. Forge is coming in again. He flashes back in with the gold card, goes golden himself, and Haro now on the chase. Kaisa as well. Ziv there. Top Esports are not on top because Rogue Warriors are taking them down a peg.
Haro is wiping the floor with this squad. They converge on the left side of the map. They look for the play to try and get an engage, but there's so much poke that's coming out from Rogue Warriors. And what was that from Knight? Knight actually just spent his Zhonya's on nothing and took a chunk of damage coming out of it.
Yes, he did, because Top Esports is not the top team we expected to see. Rogue Warriors are putting them to shame. They're going to get this inhibitor. Death timers are not long enough at this point in the game, so they can't end it. But the gold lead is huge, and Rogue Warriors can now just turn to the potential Baron or look for a pick on the way in.
This is definitely a shocking game that we're seeing right now. Rogue Warriors chancing themselves to go for this Baron, and this could be a potential comeback for Top Esports, actually. There's a lot of low HP members here in Chocho and Ziv. Are Rogue Warriors going to throw this? We have seen this in the WE series.
No, it's gone, man. It's gone, because at this point, Deadlift Flourish, no. Smite comes down, and Top Esports now looking for the engage. It's 5 versus 3. JackeyLove's going to find Chocho. That's a good pick here, but Rogue Warriors still with 4 Barons strong. They're not going to throw it away. They're not going to give it over. And at 29 minutes in the game, Rogue Warriors still remain in control.
I'm not sure if I like that play. Even though the jungler wasn't there, Jhin was able to use the execute. So let's just watch this play from Knight again. He just burns it on nothing. So kind of a weird sequence. Actually delays his damage into the front line. Zhuo takes a bunch of damage and has to burn his ult for nothing. And really smart play by Rogue Warriors. They wait out the Unbreakable Will coming in from Alistar, pick him off immediately, and then they just roll the rest of the team.
Then we look at Forge, who flashes over the wall for the gold card onto JackeyLove, who gets speared afterwards. Really nice coordination from RW.
Absolutely beautiful play from the crossfire. And Haro, I told you, man, when Nidalee players are on a roll, you never give them 3 games in a row of Nidalee. You definitely ban it away from them.
With the Night Harvester too, it's such a great snowballing item. You get in these fights, you get the movement speed, you're always following up. Lich Bane is the 3rd item too, so gone are the days where, now that we don't have a themes in the game, Clement, I guess something we could mention is, you know, we are just seeing our Nidalees with power control, not the supportive heal stake. You know, we don't have Moonstone Renewer Nidalee. It's all about that burst damage.
It definitely is, and this poke is going to be unbearable. Double Lich Bane going down into the bottom side of the map. There's not much that Top Esports can defend with. They're going to have to find some poke and hope it sticks, or hope it actually just instantly kills a target, or else they're not going to be able to dissuade this push.
And dodge Rogue Warrior's poke at the same time. Haro's poke ends lives. JackeyLove will be going to his own funeral if he gets hit by one of these spears. And with the side lanes being pressured, look, Clement, all 3 lanes there. Rogue Warrior's waiting for the next wave to push through mid. Forge is zoning away 369, who gets gold carded for his life. Half health, sayonara, as Rogue Warriors walk into the enemy base.
Close to 400 AP on the likes of Forge. He's dishing out far more damage than Top Esports can take right now. There's no tanks outside of Zhuo on this roster, so Zhuo is the one that has to make the comeback play. He is the anticipated rookie. Can he make it happen? He has to save face for his seniors right now on Top Esports.
Yeah, he's seniors, but he doesn't respect them, Clement, because he just smacked them. Who cares? You know, at this point, he's like, well, I think we need to look at a very different team arrangement.
He pops the turbo chem tank. It doesn't find the engage.
No, it doesn't. So now that that's down, I meant to say for Zhuo, he's looking at his seniors and he's saying, oh, what's going on here, lads? This is not the team I joined. But can he find the engage? That chem tank you mentioned, bit of a cooldown there. And forward they go. Rogue Warrior is now 5 members strong. Solar Flare lands down, cleansed away from JackeyLove. Zhuo comes in for the flank, but he's taking so much damage. Who cares about Unbreakable Will? He's already so low as the Gale Force used forward. Redemption coming down as well. Nice bit of healing, actually, for RW. There's a curtain call being taken by Zip, but in the end, Knight gets Cho-Cho. And Top Esports managed to defend and get a pick in the process.
Very well done by the layering of crowd control right there. We saw the Chaos Storm forcing down the HPs low, and JackeyLove able to use the Execute to take down Cho-Cho. So they actually managed to hold on to their middle inhibitor despite how bad that fight started out in the first place. I'm really impressed by that defense.
Despite being down 10,000 gold, right? Top Esports going over the wall. Ziv doesn't have Mega Naba. Top Esports have found the top laner, but JackeyLove took a spear to the face, and Haro means business. This is the Infernal Dragon that Rogue Warriors want to lead to Soul Point, but Top Esports somehow are on this first.
I think Rogue Warriors can actually straight ignore this. They can go for the triple inhibitor instead.
True, but Forge is TP'd in with Destiny. They're looking for the pick onto JackeyLove. He doesn't have cleanse from the last engage. A lot of damage onto Forge. JackeyLove flashes away, dodges away from the boomerang, but it's a double flash from RW to secure the kill. Onto Karsa, who's now going to be zoned out by Forge, who gets the gold card and the support from Kellin. Over to the side, 369, getting flashed on. Killer Instinct as well, and RW have done it. Top Esports no more. At the bottom of the pack, sitting 0-2.
It's over! Top Esports actually loses to a rebuilding Rogue Warriors. Rogue Warriors is essentially a lottery team in the LPL, and they just write one of the greatest victories against a top dog of the league. This is absolutely amazing. that there's nothing he could do 1v2, but that's a team effort. You have to call your support up there. You have to call your jungler out there. You have to stop the bleeding. And what they allowed Forge to do was get to his mythic item, even when he was 30 CS behind Knight. He got that so damn early, and if you have a lead like that on TF, it's very hard to come back with.
That was one hell of a series. Let's start dissecting that a little bit closer, Clement. This game 3 was not clean by any team. Rogue Warriors obviously kept that momentum going. They threw it away at some point. You know, there was a lot of questions as to what Forge was doing, what QiuQiu was doing. But then, you know, finding the pick onto JackeyLove, the momentum going forward, testing Baron, looking for deep invades, getting some of that vision to play through, hitting 369. There are a lot of good parts to talk about for RW and how they utilize this comp from the mid-game onwards.
Yeah, definitely was the case. The first thing I want to start off with is just the drafting. I felt like Top Esports on red side, they already saw the TF. They definitely knew what was incoming from the composition of Rogue Warriors. It was a very stock and standard pick comp. Your first 3 picks are Kaisa, Leona, and TF. I don't think it takes a genius to read that, yes, that is a pick composition. And they still went for the 1-3-1. The 1-3-1 is a composition that just naturally splits up and you get picked all over the map. They still went for that comp going into it. There's no tanks that can take the burst damage. There's no engage on your own team composition. So once the pick comp gets ahead, you're just not coming back. There's literally nothing you can do because your main advantage is actually in the split push. You can't do that, you're kind of done.
You have no tank in the roster, right? And you're like, well, we can't survive the poke damage. We get poked out, we lose objectives immediately. Top Esports, you know, there's going to be a lot of criticism thrown across the board. I said it in the game, you know, they're playing like crap. You know, it's not great. And that's honest. That's the honest truth. This is a roster that should be held accountable and should be held to be playing better. But Rogue Warriors, in a way, also force them against a wall. So there's got to be two sides of the coin. And at the very least now, we can say that, well, Top Esports were tested and they're shown to not be in that perfect form as expected.
It's still the same problems from Top Esports because, you know, there was a famous line given by Knight last summer where he said, yeah, sometimes we don't even know what the comp is. We just pick these champions, we're good at them, and we don't care about the comp. And I think that mentality is really coming back to haunt them. If you're not playing in a structure composition, if you can't identify the comps that you are good or bad against, then there are a lot of drafts where you're just going to walk in and no amount of mechanical skill can pull you out of the hole that you dug yourself. So I really want to see Top Esports try to play more frameworks of compositions and actually try to play them well. I felt like they were off to a good start today with the front to back composition and with the Ornn in front for 369. But maybe 369 needs to pick up a couple more tanks.
Yeah, true. I think you nailed it on the head when you talked about, you know, Warhorse's priority looks to be getting Top Esports into a more decent framework. You mentioned with the first draft coming through. Game 2 and Game 3, we went to the side a little bit. Not that they were necessarily bad drafts, but we went back to very volatile, fickle drafts. You also talked about how hard it was to execute, especially Game 3, against what Rogue Warriors placed in front of us.
Game 3 was definitely, for me, almost a straight draft loss right there. Definitely, you ban away the Nidalee when he's hot. And I'm just so surprised that banning Ornn is the answer. I just can't get over myself on that one.
Was it in 2020? It was like 369 didn't want to touch that. So.
Warhorse was laughing. Like, he was like, oh my god, I can't believe they're giving me a free ban right here.
True, but it wasn't.
It turns out Incense knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I was going to say, you know, I was expecting to see the Silent, the Malphite. But we could talk all day about draft. At the end of the day, you know, Top Esports, performance, shot calling, and not communication, but decision making was definitely an issue, especially in that third game. So, you know, back to the drawing board at the very least. And now, you said this as well. You said a lot of good things today. Who knew? This was, you know, the match that could actually bite them in the butt later. Because, like, 14-2 is now the highest score they can pick up. And 14-2 does not top the scoreboards of the LPL. That does not, in the past, you know, our teams have been like the 15 or the 14, but we'll probably have a game difference that can't be beaten. So Top Esports, now you're like, well, have you already just started as second place or lower?
It pretty much means in playoffs that they're not going to get a second chance. If they fall out in the, it's going to be first round, quarter, or semi. if they fall around the semi place, they're just going to be out of the entire tournament whatsoever. So this is a very, very bad start for top esports. We've seen some good starts on them, but it's still the same problems where they don't really know what the overall framework of the composition that they're playing is. And I think Knight is also falling by the sideway on these control mages. I think he needs a split pusher to kind of get his mojo back.
Or at least a carry threat, right? But on the other side, he's going up against Forge, and Forge had a decent day. Forge, remained it to be true after a couple of misplays and pushed forward and was a real key factor. The pick onto JackeyLove, for example, was what put Rogue Warriors back into this game.
This was definitely the winning play, but also look at the map. Karsa is nowhere near the rest of his teammates, and I honestly just don't know what top esports were doing on the middle of the map right there. Forge punishes them to the maximum extent for all of their, mispositioning on the map.
Yeah. He did so much damage in the end as well. When you're fed as a Twisted Fate, when you go past utility into like your one-shot combo, and Forge was definitely doing that, had a really good game, and when he was a bigger standout than Knight, something's going wrong because Knight's meant to be one of the best mid laners. We've talked about Knight being one of the best mid laners, if not even in the world. Then Forge comes in and wrecks him in this game and turns out to be the MVP of game number 3 as well.
We also have to mention that Forge soaked up, I think, 13 bans this series. So they were throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this man, and it still couldn't keep him down.
28% on a Twisted Fate, always a nice stat to see. And
are you seeing this? He has 5,300 gold overnight.
Yep, he was fed. I mean, Clement was a part of majority of the plays. Kill participation was up, and when top esports were that far behind, not too surprising. This is an issue though for top esports, and we'll digress as we see them in the next game. Now it doesn't have that same feeling. This team doesn't have that power punch of a feeling. Clement, you've been zoned out. Top esports are canceling you out because we talked bad about them. We're going to hand it over to our interview, though.